So let's start with the background of cell-sort. So this algorithm was created by Donald Shell way back in 1959. It was designed as an improvement on insertion sort, specifically to make it faster by reducing the number of sheaves needed to sort elements. So here's how it works. Instead of just comparing items that are right next to each other, like in regular insertion sort, shell sort compares items that are farther apart, and these are called gaps. So at first, the gaps are pretty large, so the algorithm can move elements across big section of the list. Then, as the sorting continues, those gaps get smaller until they eventually reach 1. So which is when the algorithm finishes off like a regular insertion sort. So this strategy helps us to sort lists more efficiently, especially when you're working with medium-sized datasets. So even though it's been around for decades, shell sort is still relevant today. It's often used in educational tools to teach sorting concepts and in some performance-sensitive systems where you want something simple, fast, and that doesn't use a lot of memory. So, in short, shell sort is a classic algorithm that strikes a nice balance between simplicity and speed.
Alright, let's break down the time complexity of shell sort in a simple way. First, what is time complexity? It's basically a way to measure how fast or slow an algorithm is, especially as the amount of data grows. Now, with shell sort, things are a bit different compared to other sorting algorithms like bubble sort or merge sort. Shell sort doesn't have just one fixed time complexity. It changes depending on something called the gap sequence. Let me explain that. In shell sort, we don't just compare and swap items that are next to each other. Instead, we use gap, meaning we compare items that are several positions apart. Then, over time, we reduce the gap until it becomes 1. That's when the algorithm finishes up by doing a final pass like insertion sort. Now, here's where the time complexity comes in. If we choose a basic gap sequence like cutting the size in half each time, so n divided by 2, then n divided by 4, and so on down to 1. Shell sort can be pretty slow. In fact, in a worst case scenario, it can take up to big O of n squared time. That's similar to bubble sort. But here's the nice part. If we choose better gap sequence, ones that are more carefully designed, shell sort gets much faster. For example, researchers have tried using gap patterns based on the Fibonacci sequence or other mathematical formulas. This smart gap choice can reduce the time complexity to around big O of n to the power of 1.25 or even big O of n log squared n. That's a huge improvement. So in short, the speed of shell sort depends on how you choose the gaps. With a good gap sequence, shell sort can be fast and efficient, especially for medium-sized datasets or situations where you don't want to use a lot of memory, like with quick sort. It's not always the fastest, but it's flexible, and that's what makes it interesting.
So, good day everyone. Today, I will be the one who is going to be presenting the cell-sort algorithm simulation. So, as we all see here, we have our initial array, or our example array, which is 10, 12, 13, 2, and 3. And the length of the array will be 5. So, as we see here, the code of the outer loop is the int gap is equals to n divided 2. Then we will check if the gap is greater than 0, and then gap will be divided by 2. So here is the first iteration. So the first iteration, the gap will be equal now to 2. Why? Because the n is equals to 5, right? And we will divide it by 2. And the 5 is going to be divided by 2, which is going to be 2.5. So, but we all need the whole number, so that's why the gap is now equal to 2. So, we will check if the gap is greater than to 0, so which is true, the gap will be now equal to 2. Now we will proceed to inner loop. So the inner loop will have the I is equal to gap, which is, what is the gap of value is? So the gap value is 2. So we will check if the I is less than the n. So what is the value of I, which is 2, and the value of n is 5, which is true. So the I will now increment it to 3. So here is the initial example of the iteration. So I will be equal to gap, which is 2. So the I is equal to 2. Then we will check if I is less than n, so which is true. And we will save the current element, which is the temp, is equals to RA2. So what is the RA2? Which is 0, 1, 2, which is 13. 13, so which is here, equals to 13. So the temp will now equals to 13. And because the for loop is true, we will proceed to inner loop. So the inner loop will be j is equals to I, and we will check if j is greater than or equal to gap, and raj minus gap is greater than 2 temp, and we will decrement the j by the gap. As we see here, the initial the j is equal to 2, which is 2, and the first condition, which is here, the j is greater than or equal to gap, which is true because the j is 2 and the gap is 2, which is already equal to gap, so which is true here. And the condition 2, which is the raj, which is the raj is 2 minus the gap, and it will turn into 0, which is with the value or the element 10. And now we will check if the 10 is greater than 2 temp, which is the temp have the value of 13, right? As we all remember, the temp have the value of 13. So, so the 10 and the 13, or the 10 is not greater than temp, right? So it will turn into false. So since the condition is false, we don't enter to the loop. So the j will remains 2, and we will place the element of raj is equal to temp at the index 2, so there's no change, so the array will be still the same and all. So we will proceed to iteration 2. The I is now incremented by 3, so the value of I will now be 3. Condition I will be I is less than n, which is true because the I is 3, then the n is 5, so it's true. And then we will save the current element of it. So we will put the variable or the temp is equals to array3, which is the array3 have 2. And now we will compare and shift the element because we already read this for loop. We will proceed here. So j is equals to I, which is 3, and the first condition is j is greater than or equal to gap, which is true because the 3 is greater than 2. Now we will check the second condition if it is true or not. So here, as we all see here, the return is true, which is the RA1 is equals to 12, which is greater than 2, which is both conditions are true. So we will proceed to the inside of the loop. And here is the swapping happen. So the array now will be the array or the array2, the array will be now 3, right? So the 3 is equals to array minus gap, which is what is the value of j, which is 3, and minus gap, so which is 2, so which means 1, right? So here the rj is now 1. So the array index 3 will be now equal to 12. So the j is equals to 3 minus 2 is equals to 1. And we will check the condition again because it is true. So we will check if the condition is still true. The condition 1. So the j is greater than or equal to gap. No, it's not. Because 1 is not greater less than by 2. So we exit the loop and we set the j is equals to 1. So here, now the Rij will be equals to temp, which is we place the index 2 at the index 1 after the operation work, so the array will be updated. So here's the new array update. So 10, 2, 13, 12, and 3. And next, we already at the increment for I is equal to 4, so I is less than n, so which is true because 4 is less than 5, so we save the current element with the temp. So array 4 is equal to 3, right, which is the last element of the array. And we here compare and shift the elements. The initial j is equal to I is equal to 4, so the j will now 4, and we'll check if the j is greater than or equal to gap, which is true because the 4 is greater than 2, and we'll check for the second condition. So what is the second condition is? So the second condition is Raj minus gap, which is will now turn into 2, and we will check if the Ra2 is greater than 3, which is true, and since the both conditions are true, we enter the loop. The Raj will be equal to j minus gap, means 4 is equal to Ra2 is equal to 13. And now the j is equal to 4 minus 2 is equals to 2. So the j will now 2. So now and again, we will check if the j is greater than or equal to 2, which is true, and we will check for the second condition. So the Raj minus gap is greater than temp, which is true because the array 0 is index 10, which is it returns true on the statement. So we enter the loop again, and which will set the Raj is equals to Raj minus gap, means the array 2 is equals to array 0, which is half the 10. So the array or the index 2 will have now the 10. And the j gives 2 minus 2 is equals to 0, so the j will now have the 0. And we will check the conditions again. Condition 1, which is j is greater than or equals to gap, which is now false. 0 is less than 2 is now false. So we set the condition for the loop, I guess, and we place the element of the Raj is equals to 10. And we set the index 3 at the index 0. So the array after the operation will now 3, 2, 10, 12, 13. So the array is almost sorted, right? So now we will check for the iteration 1.4. So the I is now equal to 5. We set the condition if I is less than n. No, because the 5 is equals to 5, where I is equals to n. We exit the inner loop, and now the array after gap is equals to 2 pass, which is now the 3, 2, 10, 12, 13. The outer loop will give the next gap, which is the gap is equals to gap divide 2 gives a 2 divided equals to 1. So the condition gap or the condition which is now true because 1 is greater than to 0. So we execute the inner loop with gap 1. Now inner loop. So here's the first iteration of the inner loop. So we initial the I is equals to gap 1 is equals to 1. So the I will be now 1. So I is less than n, which is true. So the say current element will be now temp is equals to RA1, which is equals to 2. And now we compare and shift the elements. So the initial that j is now equals to 1, and j is greater than or equal to gap, which is now true. And the condition 2 have RA0 is equals to 3, which is it's greater than to 2. So it's true. So since both conditions are true, we enter the inner loop. So here, Raj is equals to Raj minus gap. Means the Ra1 is equals to Ra0 is equals to 3. So the J will now be equal to 0 because we minus the 1. So the condition now, or the condition 1, because the condition is both true, so we go back to the for loop that we come through to this thing. So the J is now the J is greater than or equal to gap, which is false. So the J is equals now to 0. So we place the element, the J is equals to temp, which is the index 2, we place it to the index 0. So array is now, after the operation, will be now 2, 3, 10, 12, 13. As we all see here, the array is already sorted. But as what the system or the computer works, it will finish the whole thing even the array is already sorted. So we will finish here. So increment by 2. Now the I is less than n, which is true. So we say the temp element is equals to Ra2 is equals to 10, and we compare and shift the elements. So J is equals to 2, and which is J is greater than or equal to gap, which is true, and then we will check if the Raj minus gap is greater than to temp, which is false. So the J will remain 2. And we place the element, but we don't have any change. So the array will be still 2, 3, 10, 12, and 13. And now here, the iteration 2.3, so we increment again, and I will be less than 2n, which is 3, less than 5, which is true. So we save the current element to the temp, which is 12. So we compare and shift the elements. So here, initial J is equal to 3, and J is greater than or equal to gap, which is true. Raj minus gap and greater than temp, which is false. Since condition is false, we don't enter the loop. The J will remain 3. So we are now at iteration 2.4. So increment the I is equal to 4. So I is less than n, so which is true. And now we save the current element as it is. And we initial the J is equal to 4. J is greater than or equal to gap, which is true. And we will check if the Raj is greater than the temp, which is false. So since since condition is false, we don't enter the loop, so the J remains 4. So because it don't change anything, so we proceed to another iteration again. So the I will be incremented as equals now to 5. So if I is less than 2n, it's now false. So we exit the inner loop. So the array after the gap is equals to 1 past 2, 3, 10, 12, 13. So that's how the sorted array as it is, right? So outer loop as next gap. So the gap is equals to divide by 2 and gives 1 divided 2, so it's equals to 0. So integer diversion. So the condition will have the gap is greater than or equal to 0 is now false. We exit the outer loop, and now we will see the final sorted array. So which is 2, 3, 10, 12, and 13. So that's all. Thank you.
Our performance evaluation of shell sort focuses on measuring its efficiency across various data conditions, including randomly ordered, partially sorted, and reverse ordered data sets. The algorithm was assessed based on its average execution time, number of comparisons and swaps, and behavior with different input size. Evaluation criteria also included memory usage, which is minimal for shell sort due to its in-place nature and adaptability to input structure. To provide a more comprehensive analysis, we compared shell sort with simpler algorithms like insert sort, bubble sort, and more advanced ones such as quick sort. This allows us to gauge its real-world performance against both baseline and optimized alternatives, we tested shell sort using datasets ranging from small to large, simulating real-world conditions such as sorting user scores, sales, numbers, or timestamps. Quantitative results show that shell sort significantly outperform bubble sort and insertion sort, especially as dataset size increases. On average, shell sort completed sorting tasks around 40 to 70% faster than bubble sort on medium datasets. While it does not match the raw speed of quick sort, shell sort proves to be more consistent than insertion sort, particularly for partially sorted sort. It performs with an average time complexity of big O(n) log squared n, depending on the gap sequence used. Shell sort is not stable, meaning it does not preserve the relative order of equal element, but this is acceptable in many practical use cases where stability is not required. Strengths of shell sort include its simplicity, low memory, overhead, and improved speed over elementary algorithm like bubble sort. It is especially efficient for medium-sized arrays and can adapt somewhat to partially sorted input. Because it's an in-place sort, it's suitable for memory-constrained environments such as embedded systems. On the other hand, limitation includes its instability and dependence of the chosen gap sequence, which can affect performance. Shell sort is also generally outperformed by quick sort and team sort on large, randomly ordered datasets due to their superior time complexities and better optimization. When compared with other algorithms, shell sort strikes a balance between simplicity and efficiency. While it doesn't guarantee the optimal big O(n) log n performance like merge sort or team sort, it remains much faster than big O(n) squared algorithms for non-trivial sizes and does not require additional memory. This makes it a strong candidate in situations where resources are limited but performance still matters, such as sorting small to medium logs, local data buffers, or sensor data on IoT devices. In conclusion, shell sort offers practical and predictable performance, particularly where memory constraints exist where basic algorithms are insufficient. Its ability to scale better than insertion and bubble sort, while maintaining a low implementation cost, make it a valuable choice for a certain real-world scenarios.
Alright, let's wrap things up and talk about where shell sort really stands out and where it doesn't. So shell sort, it's a great choice when you're working with a dataset that aren't huge but not tiny either. Think of a medium-sized list where performance still matters, but you don't need something super fancy. One of its biggest strengths is that it uses very little memory. You don't need to create extra arrays or use up a bunch of space. Everything happens in a place. It's also pretty easy to code, which makes it beginner-friendly. And another bonus, shell sort works really well when the data is already partially sorted. That's when it can finish up surprisingly fast, but of course, it's not perfect. One important thing to remember is that shell sort's performance heavily depends on the gap sequence you choose. A poor choice can slow it down a lot. And another drawback is that it's not stable sort. That means if you have equal values, they might not stay in the same order as we were originally. Also, when it comes to really large datasets, shell sort isn't the fastest option. Algorithms like quicksort or merge sort will usually bet in those cases. Still, for things like teaching sorting concept, working on embedded systems, or handling medium-sized tasks where memory is limited, shell sort is solid and reliable option. So while it's not the best at everything, it definitely has its place.
So good day everyone. So I'll be presenting a real-life problem simulation using shell sort. So here are the example of unsorted playing card. So I'll arrange this example using shell sort algorithm technique. So first is we find the value of n. So the value of n is 5. So because the element is 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the n is 5. So now the first element of the array is 10, and the second element is queen, which is 12, and the third element is king is 13, and the fourth is 2, and the fifth element is 3. So now we find the gap of the 5 element. So how to find the gap of the element? So the formula is, so n is 5, and 2. So 5 divided 2 is 2. So the value is 2. 2 gap. So now, we proceed to the first iteration. So we find the 2 gap of first element. So 1, 2. So we compare the 10 and 13. So 10 and 13. So 13 is greater than 10. So no swap. So remain. So we proceed to the second iteration. So the two gap, 1 and 2. So now we compare the 12 and 2. So 2 is less than 12. So will be swap. Because 2 is shorter than 12. Now, the third iteration, which is the king. 1 and 2. So, we compare the 13 and 3. So, 13 is, 3 is less than 13. So, will be swap because 3 is shorter than 13. So now, we saw that not proper sorted. So now we proceed to the next comparison. So next is 10 and the gap is 2. So 1 and 2. That is 3. So we compare the 10 and 3. So sorry, no. Just 12 and 13. So 10 and 3 we compare. So 3 is less than 10. So will be swapped. Because 3 is shorter than 10. So now we proceed to the next. So we compare the 2 and 12. So we saw that 2 is already shorter than 12. So no swap because 2 is already shorter. So next, proceed to the next. So 10. So we find the 2 gap of 10, which is 10 and 13. So we compare the 10 and 13. So we know that 10 is shorter than 13. So no swap because 10 is shorter than 13. So we know that 12 and 13 is this is the proper, no? So next is to find the gap 1. So 1 by 1. For the final step, so since the unsorted array is almost sorted, so now we reduce the gap. So 2 divided 2 is 1. So now the gap is 1. So the first array is 3. And the gap is 1. So now is 2 is less than 3, so will be swapped. So next is 3 and 10. So we saw that 3 is already shorter than 10, so no swap. And next is 10 and 12. So will be 10 is already shorter than 12, so no change. And now the last is 12 and 13. So 12 and 13, so will be 12 is shorter than 13, so no change. So now this is the final output of the playing card with this initial array. So now, using the cell sort algorithm technique, so the initial array will be already sorted. So P, so this is the final output of the sorted playing card